discipleship, chain of command. Do you think there was a chain of command in the 12 with the 12 disciples? Or do you think everyone was equal? Anyone? Anyone?
No idea.
There has to be. Why would you start with Peter? Why would you already give it to Peter?
Do we not serve a God of order? Chain of command, order. Doesn't mean that one person's better than the other. Just means you have different responsibilities based on your position in the chain of command. Any team, any successful team, any successful business, what makes them successful? Let's start with the business. Is it the product that makes them successful?
It's the order in which they carry out their responsibilities.
So, what's greater, having a basic product and executing the way in which it's brought to the public in an exceptional way, or some fly-by-night product that seems really good at first, but makes a lot of money up front, but there's no follow-through. Or a team, a coach that takes a group of ordinary men and has them accomplishing incredible things by the way in which he positions them. Or a team full of superstars that never make it to the Super Bowl because none of them can work with each other because they all think they're God. It's always a chain of command. When you identify these things, you learn to get into the groove of them rather than allowing them to groove you. Work, sales, Adonai house, community center, God. Doesn't matter what the relationship is. It has an ebb and a flow, and you're either working with it or against it. There's no in between. What's one way that you can say that that statement is undeniable in your own life?
Looking at it from my perspective, it's like when you look at the person ahead of you in time, sobriety, they've seen that much more than what you've seen. And it just goes up the ladder. I mean, it starts with you, and then it goes to Jake, and then it goes down the line. But there's moments of sobriety, time in sobriety, that you guys have experienced that I have no idea about. It's kind of like a grabbing hold of that in which you guys have experienced, in a way for me to get it, in a shorter time that you guys have gotten to look at it that way.
So, what would be, since we serve a God of focus and order, what would be a time that you applied that and it has shown to be fruitful?
I don't know. I don't know. I can say an example as of tithing. I was always inconsistent in that area, and Jacob made, a suggestion like, just do it. Don't think about it. Just do what it says. The Bible says, God says, and just tithe every amount of money that you get. And I've been doing it, and it's more than just the concept. It's just it's been building character within me. It's showing in other areas of my life in regards to work. It's just the principle itself has caused me growth mentally and throughout my life. So I could say if I would have just kind of said that's a cool idea and not apply it from someone above in that aspect, I might not have ever been able to get to this point. Something like that.
That's an interesting point of view.
Yeah. What am I gonna do? My money. So you know what? Because I've seen what it did for him. I listened to his testimony. I listened to his words upon what he experienced doing it. That alone for me was something that I wanted.
Look at your sponsor. Big time. The more you give, the more you receive. That's a universal law. It's not about giving to receive. It's time, talents.
It goes beyond the tithe too. That's the next level teaching I'm getting into, and trying to look at it holistically. Is that, you die to self, not just in the area of, I gave God my 10%. It's good to go now. It's like, what are you, with what you get, are you truly not letting it rule the way in which your confession is a match what you're actually saying and what you're doing. That's pretty powerful too. Just getting to kind of sit next to a guy who just does that all day long. And then gives their time to 8 crazy young guys, just kind of getting to see that and really grab a hold of that best I can.
Thank you for sharing. Anyone else?
Based on what I'm taking as the original statement, the undeniable, the ebbs and the flows of the position, who's in front of you. I've learned that, just to put it in a nutshell, I invest in people, I don't invest in stuff. And how you do that is, much like Eric says, you try and impact or enlarge their life. Just your literal boss at work, you're the employee. Your goal is to do everything you can that you're supposed to do to make that person's life better. Then you get promoted. The whole others find you. You don't let everybody know who you are and how much you're worth. So That's the new, not new, but I've learned that is, in my opinion, the law. As far as you invest your time, money, talents, whatever you want to call it, into those that are positioned, that have gone before you.
Or that are around you, or below you.
All around, yeah. I just use my job, the guy John. I do the pools, whatever and all, but like, I'm trying to make his situation as easy as it can be, based on what I have in front of me to do. Not, oh man, this is crazy, da 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 da.
Right.
And it flows down. But that's the same in all relationships, whether they're above or below or whatever. Invest in people, not stuff, things. Dollar and cents amounts. To honor the father and the mother, the father being the source, honor the source by following their instruction. Whether you think it's right or wrong, or you can do it better, it just seems to let the other person, I don't know, like your dad calling you, it just sort of happens. They come to you. The wealth pursues you. That's one of the sayings. I look at wealth literally as people. I used to think wealth, dollar amounts. If I tithe 10%, I will receive a certain amount. Tithing to me just removes the love of the money. Like if I had $1 billion, it would be like, all right, what can we do to affect the kingdom? But
You think it's hard to tithe 10% of $1. Try to tithe 10% of 100,000, 10% of $1 million, 10% of $1 billion. It gets harder, not easier.
I think it's just the principle is the reminder that the source isn't any of those things. It's removed the love of money for me personally. Dollar amounts don't, if I have money, see a need, fill a need, I'm cool, good. I know I'm taken care of. So. Invest in people. Wealth pursues you. You walk in this, and I think people as well. Whether it may be the new guy in the house that, and this isn't you, Aaron, I'm just saying, like a new person in the house that'll drive you nuts.
Which we will have one, and they will drive you nuts.
Oh yeah. But
and it'll get everyone's underwear up in a wad.
But there's blessings and wealth behind that when you honor it and just show up.
That's why it's so important to understand your position. And where else can you see better than on the hilltop or in the valley?
What are you trying to see?
Well, you can see a lot more from the hilltop than you can inside the valley. So it's most people, what they do is they go, oh, I got a new job, or oh, I got this in my life, or oh, I got this in my life. This is so good. Look at me. Look at me, everybody. I'm so good. I'm so good. But really, that time when you're up here is the time to really truthfully go deep into understanding your position, 360. Because you're getting ready to go down back in the valley. And if you don't know who you are, where you are, or what you are, you might not make it out of the valley. Or, if you learn from the last peak and valley, then you might be able to go down much easier and come back up much quicker because you're in the groove. You're not allowing life to affect who you are.
You can discern them valleys coming, or you can see them coming.
It's definitely coming. It's just like my conversation with Will. Let me point out a couple undeniables here for you, pal. not trying to be Debbie Downer, but, you know, it's time to start making the most out of all this stuff. Because it's coming. And not allow uncertainty, which is simply just a big word for not knowing, which is just another word for worrying about things that you're not in control of. God gives us plenty of ability to see the things in which we need to be aware of. But it's really hard to focus on them when we're focusing on all the things that aren't ours. And it gets harder the deeper you go into the valley. Because it seems like that's all you can focus on then. It's hard to take your mind off of it because you don't have the view that you had up here at the peak. Where you can kind of scout ahead, plan ahead, see what's getting ready to happen. And it may be like things that doesn't happen for years, decades. But you were able to begin to take steps to be in front of things. So that when you do get hit with the difficult times in life or the pruning times in life, you're able to respond to it in a completely different way. It doesn't affect who you are, what you believe. There's so many people running around this world right now, specifically in the United States, being completely derailed and affected by religion and man's thought or spoken word. This guy says this, this guy says this, and then they're just completely responding to the things in which that are going around them. You give you believe this, and you believe all of this over here, and then you find out it's not all true, and then you don't believe that anymore. You don't believe in anything, or then you come over here and you go all in over here, and then you don't believe in this, and it's just like each thing is like this big, huge explosion in your life. Last time I checked, based on yesterday's events, when things explode, crap goes everywhere, and it takes a while to pick it all up. Well, if we spend all our time picking up crap because of things exploding in our life, we never really get an opportunity to move forward in the blessings. So knowing who you are, taking your position, understanding it, by far the most important thing in life. Knowing where I stand in this world, knowing where I stand in the kingdom, all based on when I started walking in obedience to this way. And then the second most important thing to know, is to win, to really dig deep and make sure that you know your position. Because if you're checking your position at the wrong times, you're not going to have as accurate points to it. Or in the wrong ways, you could use that. We kind of talked about some of that last time. If you're only checking your position based on your own understanding, you ain't going to make it. Anywhere. You've got to use all the tools that God gave you. Then you got to use all those tools at the right time. Not when you want to use them. Because this ain't Burger King. And he ain't sitting up there saying, have it your way. Oh, I'll do it when it feels good for me. Oh, I'll do my quiet time when it feels good for me. Oh, I'll do my 4-step because it goes in here with this, this, and this. Or, oh, I'll go clean Dad's garage when I have time the next time, or when I'm not so tired, or, I mean, we can just sit here and just throw these things out all day long. Reaching out, relationships, that's a good one. For authentic community, you have to be concerned for your brother. And when prompted to reach out, or in a uplifting way, or an accountable way, or whatever it is, you must act. Because if you don't, it's not only going to affect their blessing, it's going to affect yours. And so when I am checking my position, one of those things that I'm doing is saying, who are these people in my life that I have direct impact on, and how are they doing? And asking and communicating with them so they have the ability to respond. But it don't matter. If God has placed you in that position, then it's your job to be that guy. It doesn't matter how the person responds. It doesn't matter if the person ever changes. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is your obedience to that current position. So like when you're going and you see each other and you think in your head, oh, I should ask them, blah, 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 but you don't, because you have things that you want to do. And you just, oh, they should ask me anyway, that, it's their deal, blah, blah, blah. It don't work that way. Because eventually you're going to find a time where you may need something from one of these people. And if you haven't been doing the things in which you need to do in their life to be authentic, and you call out and you say, hey, I need something, they're going to be calling you one way. That guy only calls me when he needs something. So what can you do for others every day? That's that investing in others. So I've identified my position based on the undeniable. I'm sitting in a mountaintop, or anywhere for that matter, and I see, well, what is my position in the kingdom? Well, it's these people that God has around me. Under, above, to the side, doesn't matter. You have to accept that, take responsibility of it, and then nurture it. Well, what does that mean? You gotta feed it, you gotta love it, you gotta, make sure that it grows. Even when it doesn't feel good. Even when you don't have time. And the longer you go in life, on this journey anyway, on this particular journey, or the way in which you live your life this way, you'll find that just like the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows, those positions of people around you will change as well. Kind of like a new guy coming in. We get everything to a way we like it, where it's all comfortable. And then a new guy comes in and, a day or two, and they got this whole place jacked up. we haven't identified our position and taken responsibility for the people that God has placed in our life. I may be real close with some people, but that doesn't mean that I get to talk to them and spend all my time with them. It's not high school. Chances are I probably got to spend my time and talk to the ones that I might not like yet. Which means I got to make special effort to position myself to get through that season. And when you live your life this way and you get older and then you have kids and families and all these things, I know a whole bunch of people. But I can't text every one of them every day. I can't call every one of them to see how they're doing every day. I wish I could. Just have like a select list, 1 through 5, and I'm done every day. Doesn't work that way. You have to have the ability to see what is going on in your life, who God's placing in your life. If He's blessing you in a certain way, chances are there's someone over here that isn't being blessed that way, that needs to learn something so that they can be blessed that way. I got people like Paul Moss and Gary and even Mike Jeffries, Joe W. I haven't talked to him in God knows how long. I thought a lot about him while we were up there in Homos Assassis. Paulie. So many different people that Eric specifically, that these are like very close people to me that I have built a history over. But you know what? I never get to talk to them. And then every once in a while, maybe someone will come in, but it's for a season, and then it's because God's placed something else in front of you. And what a lot of people do is go, no, this is easy, this is fun, this is comfortable, this is what I like. And so they play God, and then they don't ever get in the groove. When the world is going up, they're going down, and it's just like can never get in sync. But when you get in sync, it's much easier to stay in sync. And that's the importance of the GPS positioning. It's just like with the car thing that I'm going through. I certainly didn't sign up to go through this big old emotional, physical, spiritual roller coaster. To come out on the other side and think I got, this blessing and I see it and it's just awesome and all these things, and then there's something else. I could shut down and just be like, you know what? No, I'm not doing it. I'm not participating. I'm not playing anymore. And walk away. Which a lot of you do. I have to stand back, look around, see what God has done, what are the undeniables, what's the truth, and then see if He can clear my next choice on how to move forward. God doesn't do anything for naught. It's not happen chance. Anything happens in your life. So you can find out why it's happening and how you can participate in it, or you can fight against it. And a lot of times there's not a right and wrong on some of these things. So it's not that obvious. It takes time. You gotta backtrack and look around and call some people in that know you and the positioning, and it's not necessarily fun. But the result of it, doing it that way, will be a godly result. It will be of God. It will be in the direction, on the path that He has called you to, and that will not be something that makes you go backwards for a period of time.